Right, how's it going, everyone? So I'm planning on making a Mirror's Edge video. So for those who don't know what Mirror's Edge is, it's a game where you do like parkour on rooftops, you run around completing missions, that sort of thing. And so I've always wanted to do like a parkour style video. I've never done anything really like that before, so I figured if I was to make a video in the parkour video and the theme of Mirror's Edge, that would be a really good way of sort of bringing those two things together. I have seen a couple people doing that sort of thing before. So for example, there's a channel called Ampersound. They do a bunch of like really cool parkour style videos, and so one of the dudes in one of these videos, right, he dressed up as Faith, who is like the main character in Mirror's Edge, and he ran around on these rooftops around England doing his parkour and stuff, and it came out really well, and I figured doing something like that would be pretty cool. So of course I couldn't do it in England, so over where we're looking there, in the Hobart CBD, that's where I'm planning on doing it. I'm going to get onto a bunch of rooftops there in the city and see what sort of footage I can get, but of course I need a camera, so planning on borrowing Mato's GoPro, chuck it in my mouth. I got like a mouth mount sort of a thing, and yeah, just run around with that in my mouth, see what sort of footage I can get. So just to explain the game a little bit further, I'll just cut over to some Mirror's Edge gameplay now. So this is Mirror's Edge. So the game's set in this city here, the City of Glass, which is like a dystopian city where everyone is basically forced to work for a conglomerate of corporations. If you don't work for these corporations, you're basically an outcast. I think honestly it's a pretty good commentary of the capitalist system. So in this game you play as Faith, which I'll just bring up now. Faith Connors, she is the main character in this game, and so the objective in this game is to run a bunch of like sort of covert missions where you're running around delivering special packages, completing missions, that sort of thing inside of this city. So one of the things you'll really notice about this game is the colouring. Like just running around here, you notice like all these saturated colours. Like, I mean, just looking at the sky, it's this really saturated blue, these yellows over here, really sort of a saturated sort of a colour going on. So yeah, my challenge for this video will be to replicate this game not only in the cosplay of Faith, but also the look of the game, as well as trying to do the sort of parkour that she does. But there's a lot of things in this game, like that for example, which I cannot exactly replicate in real life, so I'll just do my best with the parkour that I can do. Got back from Salvo's. I got myself a black tank top and pair of white jeans. So I reckon this should fit pretty well. The jeans themselves are a little bit big, but if I crop them down then they should be alright to go. Alright, so this is what we got. The tank top's fitting quite well. That's like a medium size, so it's not too bad. Then the pants are quite big. As you can see, they're like down past my ankles. It's not really fitting too well. Faith's trousers in-game, they're sort of like cut up to the shin sort of thing. So I'm going to have to cut these up to the shin, just to make sure it sort of fits with what Faith actually looks like. Yo, that's the striping all done. It's not perfect, I will admit. You can still sort of see its texture, and I've stuffed up a couple of times, but I think it'll do. So the bottom of the trousers didn't come out perfectly, so we've had to do a bit of a stitch job here. But luckily we've got the stitch master on duty. Where'd you learn all your skills from?
Good old YouTube.
YouTube. It's brilliant. It's just sort of taught us this technique. I've kind of messed it up a little bit here, but it's like sort of sewing between. We've got like a little sort of like a separate cuff thing that we're sewing onto the trousers, and we're trying to get it to look nice, but my sewing isn't exactly fantastic. Alright, so I'm just working on the glove at the moment. I've cut the fingertips off of it, and next stage is to basically darken this purple stuff, because the glove itself is meant to be like completely black with a bit of red on top. So I've got a bit of spray paint going on here. Hopefully I should be able to fix that up. So the glove's all done. Looking pretty good. I might do some touch-ups to it though. But next up is the tank top. I need to do a bit of striping here and here with the red, so I've got this duct tape ready for the spray paint job. Alright, so heads up for anyone doing this sort of thing in the future. spray paint does not stick to clothes very well, so I'm gonna have to do like multiple coats. If you're doing this seriously, you should probably get some like clothing dye or something, because yeah, this sort of spray paint stuff doesn't stick very well. Finally got the tank top done. Took quite a few layers of spray paint to actually get it to sort of stick onto the fabric, but she's looking okay. I'll just peel back the duct tape and then I'll do some final touches, I reckon. Now unfortunately I'm pretty bad at remembering to vlog while I'm filming videos, but on the first day I visited top of the Marketplace car park as well as top of Centrepoint, top of the Argyle Street car park, and then into the Hobart Rivulet and a couple other places that I was just scouting out before I then headed on to the uni to film the intro shot with Tim. About to do some filming at the Hobart Rivulet. I've been here before, once by myself and once with Ruben. And I sort of had to check out of the rivulet, and I think it'd be a good place for a bit of parkour just down there. But me being a retard, I've ripped my bloody pants. I didn't do a very good job at sewing them, so that's kind of ruined that a little bit. Alright, just shot down here in the rivulet. Did not get raped, luckily. Did not see any hobos, so we're safe on that account. So we just got done shooting the intro for this shot up here on the roof of the geography building, and I got my mate Tim to help me out with the recording of this. Tim, where should people go if they want to check out your photos? Jimmy_C6.
That
one there. Yep. Tim does some really good photography, and he was nice enough to come out here and help me film this one. So on the second day of filming, I was just on top of the Cat and Fiddle arcade. There were a bunch of really good runs up top of there, but after I'd done a couple runs there, that's when the douchebag in the office called the cops on me. Well, that was weird. I was doing some parkour on top of the Cat and Fiddle, and I was over near the Shadforth's building, and like there was this guy in an office, and initially I thought he was waving at me. He was like doing, you know, this sort of motion, and I waved back, and then I realised what he was doing was this sort of thing, like a what the fuck are you doing sort of motion. So clearly he wasn't okay with me being on the rooftop next to his office. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I may as well get out of here and go somewhere else. So I went further along the Cat and Fiddle rooftop, you know, away from the guy, away from the office guy, and then suddenly over the top of one of the roofs, the bloody cops rock up. That was surprising. I'm like, what the hell are these cops doing here, right? Turns out, well, this is my theory anyway, the dude in the office that was like, what the fuck are you doing, probably called up the cops on me. So the cops rock up, they're like, mate, what are you doing here? I'm like, bro, I'm making a video. And they're like, oh yeah, I need you to get down from the rooftop, head over to where you came from. So they're like, oh yeah, bro, gonna have to get your details, whatever, you'll get a fine, some shit like that. So yeah, that's the end of parkouring on the rooftops in the CBD. They said, you're not allowed to be in the Hobart CBD for the next, 8 hours? So until 7 PM tonight, I'm not allowed to be in the Hobart CBD, so that's a thing. So it's frustrating though, because now I'm really sort of limited on where I can sort of do my parkour for the video because of the fact that I'm not allowed. Well, I don't really want to go onto any more sort of rooftops, because if the cops catch me again, they'll probably be like, bruh, this is a second offence, gonna fucking throw you in jail, bruh. But that's alright. I can find somewhere else. I hope somewhere that looks sort of similar to the parkour sort of universe in Mirror's Edge, but yeah, I guess it's just not going to be able to be on the rooftops of where I just was. Before I started making the video, I'd been talking with my mate Haroon about doing some parkour filming with him, and he'd suggested going up to the Hobart College, which I thought was a great idea. So on the third day of filming, me and him, we both rocked up to the Hobart College and went around doing a bunch of really cool parkour. Unfortunately, Haroon couldn't do the sort of level of parkour that I was doing because he unfortunately had an injury. But he had had a lot of experience, like back in the day, back when he was living in Perth, running around with his mates, doing a bunch of really cool parkour. And so when I was running around doing my thing, doing my filming, he was actually able to guide me and suggest techniques that I could use in my parkour, which was really good. So we had a really good day, but just sort of running around the college, exploring, just seeing what was around there. Alright, so we just got done filming up at the Hobart College and got my boy Haroon here. How many people have you instructed in parkour before?
Including you?
Yeah.
Just the one.
Oh, okay. See, Haroon's actually a pretty decent teacher at parkour, so he was showing me some pretty hectic shit up there, so we did well. On the fourth day of filming, I got a bunch of transitional type shots, which I didn't end up needing in the video, and then I went ahead and captured the time lapse, which I used in the outro. Alright, so here we are in Sony Vegas. I just wanted to quickly go through some of the effects that I've put on this video. So, first up are 4 instances of Sony's color corrector secondary. So the first one there is an increase of saturation in the reds. The next is an increase in saturation of all the saturated areas. And the next is a decrease in saturation of the not very saturated areas. So what those two in conjunction do is basically create a separation. It makes the saturated things more saturated, less saturated things less saturated, creates a separation there, which sort of holds true to the game. So the next one here is an increase in brightness of some of the sort of the shinier areas, again trying to make it look like the game. And the next one, which does a lot of the work in this, is the detail enhance, so really bringing out the details in the edges, which is definitely something you see in Mirror's Edge a lot. But I did find that it created a lot of really bright and really dark pixels. So before that I put an instance of Sony's color curves, which you can see by this shape here. Really took some of the pixels away from the far bright, far black end of things. So that's what's applied to all the clips, and then on the individual clips I have the New Blue Stabilizer Pro, which I'm not going to show you a comparison, but it really does make things much more stable, but does introduce a weird sort of distortion based around the GoPro's fisheye distortion that it has around the edges. And then following that I have a crop which brings it from 4:3 down to widescreen. That's it. That's the whole project. Quite a few firsts for me on this one. It's my first time I've ever done a parkour video, first time I've ever done a Mirror's Edge video, first time I've ever done a cosplay in a video, first time I've had behind the scenes in a video, first time I've ever had the cops involved in a video, and as a result the most expensive video I've ever made. Fuck you cops. I'd like to thank everyone who helped out in making this video, as well as you guys for watching.